We wrestled at York, the College Open this weekend. Again, I think last week we talked about it's always been a really good tournament for us, and again, another great showing for the Maverick team there. We had Jolynn Harris make the finals, finishing second. Kaylee Haynes, sitting to my right, finished fourth. Again, great wrestling overall from them. Freshman Tatum Heikala finished first for her second College Open tournament victory that she's had this year. A lot of great things out of people. And again, they only placed top 4, but there are a handful of us that lost in that, if you will, that consolation round of 8 where, if you lose, you wrestle for 5th, 6th. So again, a lot of girls finishing the top 6 at that tournament. We were able to get some good regional matchups too, with Chadron State being there and William and Jewel. So it was a great opportunity for us to wrestle, and I was really happy with what we did. The girls, having that long layoff, I think it was nice to have that break. But again, it showed all the things that we've been working on and those positions that we had been talking about and how well we performed in those positions over the weekend.
You looking ahead, you got a duel with Chadron on Friday. What do you know about them and what can we expect on Friday?
It's exciting. Chadron State, this is their first year with the program, another Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference NCAA affiliated school. Women's wrestling is still growing. It's an emerging sport in the NCAA, so having Chadron add women's wrestling is a fantastic add for our conference, and I think it puts the pressure on some of our other conference schools to add women's wrestling, which is exciting because now all of a sudden we can start having conference duels just like the men's team, just like any of our other peers on campus in the sense of basketball, volleyball, football. So I'm really excited about that. Them being a first-year program is exciting because we've been there, and I like to see their growth. They've done a great job. Coach Jeffries is really building a program there. He was able to get about 8 girls on the lineup for the first year, so it's really nice that they're going to have almost a full team. I'm mostly excited about being our second home duel this year, one of the few that we get to have. But the thing that's highlighted the most is it's going to be senior night on Friday, and we get to recognize not only just these two sitting here, Kaylee and JoJo, but also Maite Viada and Lexi Valdez.
And Kaylee, for you, you're the first recruit to come into the program. Senior night on Friday, kind of reflect on your time here a little bit.
Well, Friday's definitely going to be pretty emotional. It's been a fun 4 years, I think, in the program. We've had a lot of growth, learned a lot of new things, saw a lot of new competition. It's been fun to see this program grow, and I'm excited to see where they can take it in the next 4, 8, 10 years, however long this program continues. I think we're going to hit a few national championships, and it's going to be just phenomenal to see that growth, and it's fun just being kind of part of the trailblazers on this team.
Yeah, and actually expand on that a little bit. You kind of hit on something that I didn't really even think about. You've seen the growth of women's wrestling in your 4 years. Let's talk about the growth in general of women's wrestling.
Well, I mean, when this program first started, I was one of very few female wrestlers in the Valley. Now there's a women's high school program that I'm fortunate enough to coach. There's many youth programs starting that are all women. The matchups in the Rocky Mountains that we've been able to hit, for instance, Chadron this week or on Friday, that's just something I didn't really see whenever I first started with this program. I mean, I was one of very few girls on this team, one of very few girls on the Western Slope. Not too many high school programs in Colorado at the time, so it's fun to see it grow, and I'm so excited to see where it's going to go in the next 10 years.
Joe, for you, when you came in, you came here because you wanted to be a part of the wrestling program, and obviously you've been a diver also. You've continued to grow throughout throughout your time here. Just talk about how the growth of yourself over the time has been.
I've definitely had setbacks with injuries every year. This year has been my most consistent, wrestling through all practices and without injuries. So that's really helped me grow this year. Stop knocking on wood, Drew. Helped me this year, especially. I made my first finals ever this weekend, and that was really fun. Took some shots like Travis been telling me to do, and it worked out. So, just growing confident, becoming more confident in myself, just because I haven't been sitting out as much, just has really helped.
And then you've talked about it ad nauseum, but talk about the difficulty in doing two sports at the level that you're doing the two sports at in college?
So this year's been pretty difficult, just because we've had some conflicting meets, a lot more than we have in the past, and trying to figure out which meet I'm needed at more. That really is tough, because I really want to wrestle and be out on the mat, but I know that my diving team needs me to score points for them, and I can score those points. But also, just like practice-wise, like I'm practicing 2-3 times a day, like going straight from one to the other, and a lot of people don't like really get how I can do that. I don't know how I do it. It's just a regular day for me, I guess. But it's just working on my time management and just flowing through everything.
And Travis, if you reflect on both of their careers, they're very different in a lot of ways.
I think Kaylee hit it on. It's going to be an emotional day. I'm already starting to think about it being emotional right now. Kaylee Haynes was the first one. And to see her growth, not only as an athlete, but as a young lady, right? She's recently married, right? She's one of the assistant coaches for the district team here, right? To see her growth, not just as a wrestler, but as a young lady, has been tremendous, and I'm very thankful for that opportunity, for her to be that trailblazer, and not only be a trailblazer in the first here, but the first from Grand Junction, right? She is literally and figuratively and the person that when girls start wrestling here, youth, middle school, they're going to be like, we want to be like Kaylee Haynes. And there's a handful of them out there already. It's the Kaylee Haynes fan club, and I joke about that, but that's the reality. It's the fan club because it's someone real for them, right? Everybody always has that hero, that sport athlete model, like, I want to be like them. Like, for young ladies in Grand Junction that are wrestling, that's Kaylee Haynes. And it'll always be Kaylee Haynes, so it's really exciting. Woo! Now, JoJo, right, again, I think JoJo holds another special piece because Jo transferred from a very elite Division I university where she was diving, and she wasn't, I don't want to say not enthusiastic about her time there, but that's not where she really wanted to be, and she wanted to be on the mat and wrestle. And having her here, she's brought such a great dynamic to our university and showing that you can be a dual sport athlete and be not just successful in one, but be successful in both, and successful in academics, and this, and that. And I still don't know how Jo does it. There's only 24 hours in the day, and somehow Jo gets everything done, and sleep, and eat, and have a social life. But again, it goes back to showing that if Jo can do it, like, she's a role model in the sense that if Jolynn can do this and have her load, you can do this, right? And I think it's been awesome for her to show her teammates, our team, our university, that you can have the heaviest schedule and the most bearing days and still come to practice with a smile on your face and be able to compete even when things aren't going the way that you want them. You've had a bad day at diving. It wasn't the best diving day, but then you're coming to wrestling with a smile on your face because guess what? It's the next best thing, right? And we're going to do the next thing that's in line part of my schedule. So, again, Maite, Lexi, same thing. Both of them come in as transfers. Lexi from Western Colorado. I don't remember what community college she was at, but she was at a community college playing softball, and having her come and wrestle was a great fit for our program. Maite, a transfer from a community college in California, same thing. And all four of them have been great additions. They've all brought something to our program and the table. And I'm really excited about being able to recognize and share them with not only the Colorado Mesa community on Friday night, but the Grand Junction community as well.
Questions?
Do you guys quantify this thing? I know you guys are road warriors most of the time, but what is it going to mean for you to take the mat in front of someone last time?
Like I said before, it's definitely going to be emotional. Being kind of the Grand Valley girl, I have a lot of Kaylee Haynes fan club that's going to be coming, as Trav likes to say. A lot of my family is going to be there, my older brothers, my little sister, girl kind of latched on to me throughout the years, learned how to wrestle through me. So it's definitely going to be emotional. One last time under the lights. It's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be a wonderful event. I think we're going to have a lot of fans. It's going to be good competition and just another chance to wrestle, which we love. We love when we can get the opportunity. It's just one more chance for regionals, one more chance to better ourselves.
I also think it's going to be emotional because it is going to be my last time wrestling in Brownson. It's also going to be the first time wrestling in Brownson without my dad here, so that'll be that'll be tough, but my mom will make it, so she'll be able to walk me out, so that'll be fun.
Now that we're all crying, question of the week, right?
Oh.
Yeah, I guess I'll ask you one more, Coach. You obviously know what your goals are for the season. You know what that room feels like right now. How does the room feel in comparison to the goals that you guys have set?
I think we're right on track. I know we say that a lot. That break was as much as it wasn't planned and unorthodox and cancellations. Like, I think it was a blessing for us. We've been able to really get after some training and take what we're learning and applying it and putting, if you will, problem solving into wrestling, which I think has been a great thing for us. And I think our energy is great. The girls are starting to get hungry because they know that the end is coming up. In a good way, right? It's not like, oh, it's almost over. It's, hey, what else can I give in these last few practices? And our practices have been shorter, a little bit more intense, but very focused on them. We have this duel here Friday night. We have one more road trip, and then we've got to go through that, my least favorite part of being a coach, of picking my starting lineup. And again, we do wrestle-offs and things, and we look at performances, but, it's going to be hard. I think we know who our 1 through 10 is in the sense of every starter at each weight class, but then those next 5, I don't know right now. It's a toss-up between, 109, 116, 23, or 36, 30, 43, 55, 70, right? We all have girls that are, if you will, are second in the lineup after their starters, but I have 8 of them, 9 of them, and it's like, well, I can only pick 5 of those. So I've been, I don't want to say losing some sleep, but I've been definitely thinking about it and writing notes down and going through. And then this past weekend, people beat each other, and I'm like, oh, that changes that up. So it's definitely a fun part of the year, though, because everybody sees the culmination of the work that they've been putting in since August kind of starting to come to fruition. And, I booked our flights for regionals today. We're ready to go, and I'm really excited to be able to go out and compete and give these girls an opportunity to win a national championship.
All right, question of the week.
Question of the week. What has been your favorite memory?
I'm gonna cry.
No.
Oh, pickiest eater?
We've already got 3 of those.
Hey, sorry.
Now we can do both.
Okay, pickiest eater is then what's your favorite memory?
Who's the pickiest eater on the team?
Yes.
Oh, Anya Scholl.
Anya. Hands down, Anya.
Yep. That was an easy one.
Yeah.
All 3.
Yeah. Anya.
And that's a good thing. She's just picky.
She's healthy. Healthy eater at times.
Favorite, what is it? Second one was favorite memory in Brownson or here on campus. Our first home duel for sure. I know a lot of people, I know Yonke knows this story. I tried to hide it in homecoming weekend. I'm like, oh, the parade is that time, and we can do it at the same time as that. And then I remember President Foster was like, no, we're moving the duel to this time, so right as the parade ends, everybody goes to the duel. And I was like, great, we're a first-year program, wrestling number 1, Wayland Baptist. Like, this is gonna they're gonna be like, who'd they hire? This poor guy, like, get him out of there. And walking into Brownson right before the duel starting to see 300, 400 people in the stands was amazing, and I'll probably always remember that.
Oh, gosh.
One of you.
There's definitely a lot to choose from, but oh my goodness. I honestly have to say I think my first win at Brownson against Wayland Baptist. I mean, that was my first freestyle match ever. We only had like a month and a half of practice under our belt, so I was still pretty confused on some stuff. Kaylee Haynes fan club was there. A lot of pressure, 300, 400 fans in the stands. And it was homecoming week. It was just a big hype week, I guess you could call it, and a lot of exciting emotions, nervous emotions, and then I teched my girl in a minute and a half, and that was I still have the picture. It's up in my parents' house of like biggest smile I've ever had wrestling was that match, my first college match. My whole family was there. It was a good time, and we did pretty well against number 1.
Well, I think just being able to come and do both sports, and like having a weekend where I have a diving meet and a wrestling meet here and running from one to the other, that's like most people can't just go do that. And I just think it's really cool to be able to do that, and that makes my day, just being able to run from one to the next. And yeah.